Hey there, Marcus here. Today I will introduce two new plugins. One is very minor and one is a lot more important. So if we just start with the minor, I'm just gonna say a couple of words about it, and that's the MediaWiki AI Interpolator. And that's basically taking a search word or a product, a name or whatever, and filling another large text field with data from Wikipedia. It is MediaWiki agnostic, so in theory you can probably use it on fandom.com or Wikiquote or some other larger website that's using MediaWiki, but for most purposes it's just gonna use Wikipedia, and it's already configured to use Wikipedia by default. And the reason for this is basically that the AI, when they are trying to find, the next tokens in the vector space, sometimes it can go wrong because of how they have been trained, and it is a very hard issue to do something about, to be honest. So the AI will hallucinate, and the only way you can get rid of this, if you want truthful answers, is basically to give it context. Like, this is a text that has a lot of information in it. Can you summarize or answer this question, whatever you want, right? So that's all about the MediaWiki. The more important one is that there's a Huggingface module now. This is a generic module, so you could actually use it for or the idea is, if there's more contributors doing a lot of other stuff with Huggingface models, please get in contact with me, and I will make you maintainers as well. So we don't have a AI Interpolator Huggingface, but there's a Huggingface module with an API to Huggingface, and on top of that, this has a AI Interpolator Huggingface module then. This tutorial is pretty advanced. You have to know Huggingface, you have to have an account at Huggingface, you have to know how to take care of or how you find the models you want to use and so on. So in Huggingface there's 500,000 plus models that someone has created from scratch or fine-tuned and so on. But out of those 500,000, there are around 40,000, as far as I could count at the current date, that has something called the Huggingface inference API, which means that they are basically able to be run. And there's two versions of this API, so we're gonna be playing with Google's Gemma today. But I will explain how this module is completely model agnostic actually. But I will show you here on the deploy. So I'm logged in, that's why I see this, by the way. There is inference API and there's inference endpoints, and these are the two versions that you can use with the module currently. So there's a serverless version that is actually free, but this comes with a lot of caveats. So if you're gonna prototype this, feel free to use it. Sometimes it will just fail because it's down. You will get a warning message that it's down. It got a 400 or a 503 or something like that as a response. But sometimes it works. And also, to be clear, these free APIs does not exist on every model, especially models that requires a lot of VRAM from expensive GPUs. So because of that, there is of course also then a paid endpoint where you can get a dedicated machine. I will talk more about that in later videos. For this video I'm gonna set up everything so it's completely free actually. You don't need all the videos I do usually. I just say, yeah, I just change this service and this service and this service, and that's fine when you have a company paying for it, like in my case, or I privately can pay for it, but that's not always the choice. There's not always an option, right? So because of that, it's pretty nice that Huggingface lets you try out stuff like this. I will say though, unless you have a workflow on production where you can wait for the generation, or where one part of a generation chain is allowed to fail for hours, don't use this in production. Pay for it if you need it to actually always answer. I'm also not gonna go in that much to why this is so much more important than all the other AI models. Sorry, AI plugins. But the gist of it is basically a lot of these models are open source. You can't censor them. You can get them to answer like you actually write, or you know, create images with yourself inside the image and so on, because you can fine tune these. And you can also create these models from scratch. And then just a little bit about how you can find these. So there is huggingface.co/models, and under there are a lot of categories, and these categories basically map to different rules in the AI interpolator. So today we're just going to use the text generation task, which is here. So you can see all the modules and models that exist. This is based on trending right now. So because Gemma was just released, like, I'm not sure if it's Gemma or Gemma, I say Gemma, was just released a week ago. It's super popular now, of course. So we're gonna use Gemma to be IT, and IT is basically to give it instructions. So it's a typical chat model. So that is the instruction. Oh yeah, the workflow we're gonna do, it's very simple, but it's just to give you an idea what you can actually do with these plugins. So it's that we're gonna create a content type that answers a question or fills out information basically for our website. In this case, I'm gonna create something called software, and it's gonna answer some question regarding well, I will use Drupal in this case, of course. So I'm logged in here in Drupal then. I haven't done the normal introduction, by the way, what Drupal is and so on. This is so complex that you have to know Drupal before you start playing around with this. So I'm not going to introduce Drupal in this case. What I will switch to here is the code, right? Because we actually need, I just started this in DDev then. What we need is this module, which let's see here. We're gonna use this one. So DDev, and we get the Huggingface beta, and then we're gonna get the AI Interpolator MediaWiki beta as well. AI Interpolator MediaWiki, oops, wiki, misspelled. So, and you see they get installed here. The only thing you have to think about here, minimum stability has to be dev, because these modules are still not production ready. So they are added. I had the AI Interpolator, by the way, since before, just so you know, but that would of course be installed also then. So we just search for Huggingface. We're gonna use AI Interpolator Huggingface. This is gonna install Huggingface core, and then the MediaWiki. So we just install this. It says that it's gonna install the core as well. And then what we need to do is go to configuration web services and Huggingface config, and there we have to put the API token. So that you can find under let's see here, it should be under settings, and then it's under authentication, maybe, no, access token. Here we go. So I will just create a new token here, testing, it's okay for reading, and we show this. I'm just gonna copy this. This will be removed, by the way, by the time you see this, so you can't steal this from me. We just save this, and then we have set up Huggingface. So the next point is that we want to create a content type that we call software then. We disable this. We don't need to preview, and we just add fields now then. we remove the body field. We're not gonna need that. But what we want to do is to have a plain text field that's text plain long that we call Wikipedia article, right? And this should only be one. And here we enable the AI Interpolator and we choose the rule Wikipedia MediaWiki. And we're gonna base this on the title. So I'm gonna write Drupal in the title, and this is gonna go into Wikipedia, search for Drupal, and basically fill out this field. Then we can use direct because this is fast, and we just want extract, I think should be enough. So I'm just gonna ask you how many users that exist, right? We want to strip HTML because this was a plain text field and we're gonna use it for context, then it's better just not to have an HTML there. Search before fetching means that it will do a search if I do some misspelling, write Drupal or something like that instead of Drupal, and then it will kind of figure out that it's Drupal, I mean. Then I will create another field that is just we take a formatted text long. So the text generation currently, because most of the models are not close to OpenAI's GPT-4, does not have many different field types that it can answer to, because when we ask GPT-4 we can ask in a complex JSON way. So in this case it's only available for the long text fields. So I will write members here, and then we set full HTML, we enable the AI Interpolator, and now we're gonna use then Huggingface text generation. So this is the thing that talks to text generation models. We're gonna use base mode, and we're gonna use the Wikipedia article, right? And now I just copy from, I've written it here before. So based on the following text, answer the question with factual information. No description is needed in the answer or a description what the text says. So that's just the thing is, some of these models want to be very verbose, and in my case I just want to know how many members actually exists, and that's it, right? And then we just write text, and we're gonna use context, which is the Wikipedia article in this case, right? And then we write question, how many members does Drupal have? Wait, let me just do a Drupal Wikipedia check on how to actually write this. Let's see here. Members. What did I write? How many members does Drupal? Okay, 1.139. And then since these are text generation, it helps when you kind of force where the next thing should come. So we just write the answer, and that's what we want to fill in, right? Under advanced settings, we have to make sure that this weight is higher than the Wikipedia fetching, so the Wikipedia article exists beforehand. These are a lot of settings that you will have to tweak around, especially with smaller models, if you want any result that actually is of use for you, especially when it actually writes text. I mean, in this case, I think it will be fine to keep it as this. I think actually the Gemma, even the Gemma 2B that runs on a normal, a normal laptop with 16 gigabyte of RAM, I think that will be able to answer this. So we just leave it like this, right? And we're gonna use the free endpoint, and I'm just gonna start writing. So there is a autocomplete here, and I take Gemma 2B IT, save this, and then we're just gonna add this software then, and we're just gonna write Drupal here, save it, and hopefully you see it fills in the Wikipedia article and members, 1.39 million members, including 124,000 users actively contributing. And this is taken from this context, which means now that it's asking truthfully. So this is cool from many point of views, because it's asking answering truthfully. It's using a model that's free, but that's, I mean, that's the current state of Hugging Face. Who knows, maybe they don't keep this free. But it's also using a model that you could download and fine-tune yourself to actually write text as you want it to be written, right? And you could also add things that you find that they censor that you might be interested in writing about using AI, right? So yeah, that's basically it. That's how you use the Huggingface and the AI Interpolator MediaWiki. The MediaWiki I probably won't, or it might be incorporated in some workflows in the future, but it's not more complex than what I showed you now. However, the Huggingface I will come back to. We're gonna look into fine-tuning our own models and using that and other things, how you can set up a dedicated API endpoint and so on. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.